Another thing that was real special about our festival, I think I was on the Christmas parade, but I'll go back to that. Another thing that was really special and helped promote our festival, and a lot of local people, a lot of people later on didn't understand that this was a promotion for our festival. But just like you do when you have guests over for dinner, in a week or so they invite you over for dinner. I think that's the custom and proper order. So we decided that we should start inviting the representatives from the events that we attended to then come to our festival. And so we started a Queen's Hospitality program. And it was for the 3 days of the festival. And we'd invite them to come in, and they would be coming from all over the state. And it was so much fun for our people, the residents of our town, especially the JCs and their wives and people that were involved with the festival, because they were getting to meet all these other girls with crowns on their heads and the representatives that came with them from their events. And the way we did that, because we didn't have any big hotels in Southport, and if we did, that was half the tourist season. So like everything else I did, I asked people who have nice homes in their town to open their hearts and homes to these visitors when they came from out of town. And everybody was so glad to do that. And we had pool parties, and then we had shrimperoos, and these people were entertained, and they'd been doing it for years for the military guys that came in, so why not do it for the beauty queens? I mean, they were much prettier. And the girls, then we would greet them, and we would take them to everything that we thought a person ought to know about Southport. They had events all over town, of course. We took them on the waterfront. One year, and I think it was the year that I was president, which was 1982, there was a gentleman that was a large landowner. In fact, he owned Bald Head Island for a little while. And he was a very good friend of the person that I call the First Lady of Southport, and her name was Margaret Harper. And Margaret Harper was the first woman in Southport, first woman in the whole state of North Carolina to run for high public office. And fortunately for me, she was one of my customers in the beauty shop. And I felt like I was her daughter because she took me everywhere and did things for me. So Miss Harper was just, now where was I going with this baby?
Walter Davis.
Yeah, Walter Davis, thank you. She was real good friends with Walter Davis. And she had introduced me to, she invited me to go with her to the Bahamas, to Walter Davis Resort for a week. And of course I went, and so I met the guy from Nag's Head that was the captain of Walter's personal boat, yacht, whatever, and his assistant, his maid. And while we were there, I said, it'd be really nice if you could be in Southport for the 4th of July so I could let you take all my beauty queens out for dinner on the boat. And so he said, well, I might be able to talk Mr. Davis into, because he used to like to play cards. He said, I might talk him into a card game. And sure enough, right about, that was the year I was president of the festival. And so he called me and he said, Miss Connie, we're docked down here at the boat harbor, so you just tell me what we want to do from there. And sure enough, we had a party laid out on the boat, took all of our guests out on the boat, and we used to take them to Brunswick Town. Mr. Falk who was a member of our committee and helped us with a lot of things, but he was so proud of that site, of that historic site. And I'm sure you've probably been there, but it's nothing like going there when Bill Falk's there, because he made the history of Brunswicktown come alive to you. You felt like you knew the people that were buried there and had homes there. He was such a great historian and such a great representative for the state, for Brunswicktown. And so I always took my beauty queens to Brunswicktown for a tour, because I wanted them to hear Bill Falk explain to them the history of the people who lived at Brunswicktown. And I think that was one of the highlights of their visit every year, was a visit to Brunswicktown. So the year I was president, we went to Brunswicktown, and we had a yacht at our disposal, so we could go out on the river. But the thing is, and that's how we made the festival grow. We brought people in here and provided hospitality and helped them to see and love Southport through our own eyes. And that's what makes it so much better. You can tell a story or talk about things, but when you tell it through your eyes, it's really different. It's different to them, and they go away remembering your story and remembering your place. And they are your best advocates to bring their friends down to see Southport. So that's really, and that was way before I went to work at the chamber. So, but people abroad used to call me the Southport Chamber when I'd go to their town. Here comes the Chamber Southport, because I talked about it with so much love in the festival, and I did love it. But that is really how we built it. Now, the year that I became, can I skip when I was president? I was fortunate, I was not president of the festival until 1982. Wait, I don't want to go there yet. You need to, are you going to edit this? I really need to talk about, I guess, the 70s, because during the 70s, everybody knows we was a bicentennial. And our local chairman for the bicentennial, the Southport Bicentennial, which was part of the overall county bicentennial celebration, was Bill Crow. And so he had asked me if I would help him celebrate, help him with some of his kickoff celebration for the bicentennial, which I said I would. And of course he had asked me that before Lou Hardy had called me and asked me if I would be. And we're going to talk about that in a whole other segment, when I was producer of the outdoor drama. But anyway, Bill called me and asked me if I would help him kick off the bicentennial here in Southport. And he was going to have an event at the, our city hall used to be over here in the park, and where the art museum is now, that was the Southport City Hall. So we were going to have the kickoff right there on the steps of the City Hall. And so I decided what he needed was some music, and not just speeches. So there were people that I knew around Southport, because we used to do little shows to make money, little variety shows, and everybody came and sang and danced. And anyway, so I said, I can get you together a choir to sing patriotic songs. So of course you go to all the church choirs and get their soloists and their best singers, and you put them together, and then anybody else that you knew that might have the talent, you put them together, and you get a pianist and a place to sing, and you sing patriotic songs. And so that's what we did. And then we went to City Hall and sang them. And so we had such a good time doing that. And then we thought, well, we'll do this singing again. So that year we didn't have many bands and stuff for the 4th of July parade. So I said, you get me a float, and I'm going to put my singing group on a float, and they're going to sing patriotic songs the whole parade route, a cappella, I'm sure. Well, Miss Leela Pickett, and I have to tell this, Miss Leela Pickett, when the Southport High School burned down, there was a little small piano that they used in the Southport Auditorium. It was no bigger than that desk. Anyway, she laid claim to that. She ran into the burning building and pulled that piano out and pushed it up the street. Now, she laid claim to that little piano, so that's what we had to back up our music everywhere we went for everything. And that's a true story. You know that, Libby. So anyway, we put that little piano and Leela and our singers on a flatbed truck, and we went through the parade so we could have some music for the parade. And that was in the 70s. That had to be the 76 parade, or the 70. I think we kicked that off probably 74, 75, something like that. Anyway, that's the way we did things here. There was a need, everybody jumped in. You just say, oh, we'd like to do that. Sure, what time you want to start? That's just the way it was. And so the festival was growing, and it was beautiful. We had the art in the park. We had the arts and crafts in the park. People that did things wanted to share things, and they would call somebody with the festival, usually Mr. Harrell, and say, I got a club that does this, and they would like to participate in your 4th of July festival. And then we had little people like these little beauty queens and the big queens and everything else. They like to perform. So we started fixing little stages all over town, so these girls could come and sing or tap dance or whatever they did. And there was just something going on all over town that people would enjoy. And sure, it was the amateur hour. But what else is more fun than knowing the people that are doing this are local or, young or amateurs. And we had a big stage in Franklin Square Park, of course. And then our main stage was down at the Whittler's Bench, which is another thing. But anyway, the Whittler's Bench that was down there, we had a big flatbed truck down there, and that's where we'd have bands all day. And that's where we had the street dance. And then we had a little stage in Keziah Park, if you know where that is, where the Indian Trail Tree is. We had a small stage in Keziah Park because it was cool and shaded for the kids that wanted to come and perform. And then we'd have puppeteers and things like that would entertain the children in the afternoon. So between the time we started the festival until I don't know when, because I don't know exactly what's going on now, but that was our mission, was to have something for everybody to enjoy and to invite people from surrounding areas to come and participate in our festival. And the best thing we probably ever had in our festival was, and I don't know if they still have them, if they still come, was the Shriners. The Shriners, the North Carolina Shrine Associations were the main part of our parade. And we paid them all, and we had a local man that was a Shriner a big deal in some shrine club. And he lived right there behind the water tank, so he invited all the shrine clubs. He was in charge of the Shriners, and he would feed them all at his house. We would fork out the money for him to get, you know, fried chicken or whatever, and they too would do their chicken fries, but we paid him to, we would buy chicken from them to feed our guests. And so the best thing I can say about the olden days, and I haven't been involved with the festival in a long time, but is that it was truly a family affair, a local, and the family of Southport people, because the Southport people loved each other and they loved to put their best foot forward. They wanted to decorate their house. They wanted to have red, white, blue outfits. They wanted to go downtown and say hello to everybody they saw. Welcome to our town. You know, it was that kind of thing. And everybody loved it. They couldn't wait till the next festival. And as it progressed, they loved the Queen. I mean, you would have thought that she was Miss America because everybody loved her. They wanted her for their ribbon cuttings. They wanted her for their tea parties. And it just mushroomed. It grew, and we had a lot of our political people. The one thing we didn't allow was stumping. We did not. We wanted our political leaders to come and ride the parade and sit on the reviewing stand, but we didn't want any political speeches. So that was a rule. No speeches, no glad handing, just come and enjoy and be who you are. And we enjoyed the children. We just wanted it to be a small town. We wanted it to be a big small town celebration. That's the only way I can talk about it. Now, when we brought the little queens in for the hospitality, we put them up in people's homes because we didn't have hotels. So we had everybody we knew that had a fairly nice home in Southport. And especially in my neighborhood, especially in my neighborhood, we had everybody in my neighborhood kept a queen. And all over town, and you'd have to gather them up, and that was a great experience for people in our town too, because they got to know these people and their festival and what was going on. So it was wonderful. And then we had the Bicentennial Celebration. So for a few years, I think 1975 maybe, I didn't participate in the 4th of July Festival because I was developing the outdoor drama for the Bicentennial. So I had a little lapse in there, but then in 1980, I jumped back into it. So anyway, had a little downtime, but I was still doing, during the downtime, I was doing the Little Miss 4th of July pageant. And actually, I had a lot of those little girls that were great to take and travel with and do the little pageants and stuff. And so I snatched them away from their mother and took them around and promoted the 4th of July Festival. So,
I do have a little question for you. There was a photograph, and I believe it was in the mid-70s, and I'd like to know what year it was, that there was a downpour. I mean, you could see it, it's a color photograph, but I mean, you could see it was like a veil of rain came down in the middle of the parade.
And we didn't have fireworks either because of that rain. I don't remember what year that was, but I know because my house was right on the river, and we usually had fireworks rain or shine, and I guess you know about the year that the
fireworks.
Yeah, the barge exploded. Yeah, that was right out the back door. I mean, I knew those guys real well, and through it all, even that, and so those guys came close to dying on that thing, and they were walking on water. Of course, we had all kind of boats out there trying to find them, and but in it all, at the next meeting, they were laughing and talking about, you know, like Sardina walking on water and, you know, where they went and diving off the barge and all that kind of stuff. But after that, and it was a few years later, we started getting professional fireworks in here, which we should have done all along. And they moved those fireworks around so much. They used to do them right there at the foot, right there on Bay Street, where the Garrison Lawn, they used to do the fireworks there on the Garrison Lawn. You remember that, Libby? Mm-hmm. And we thought they were going to burn up Southport with that. And so we've had our trials through the years, and as we grew and as the town changed and things, the camaraderie disappeared little by little, and that was sad. It was sad to note that. But up until about I was chairman in 1980, I was president in 1980, and Doug was 81 after me, and then I believe Richard took it again after that. All I can tell you about the 4th of July Festival that is what made it grow, is because the people that were doing it loved it. And from that love, I took that 4th of July Queen out, and we brought people in to see what we did. And I've had like state queens like Miss North Carolina, the Azalea Queen, the Rhododendron Queen, to go on stage at other events and talk about our festival. You know, you better hope you get to go to the North Carolina 4th of July Festival. That's the best fun you're ever going to have. And you know, I just swell with pride because I thought it was too. But anyway, we just put our heart and soul in the committee people back then, and we really thought we were building something for the future. Of course, we had not realized that as generations change, people change their ideas, and we did think it was best when there were no commercial vending in the town. And I saw that change in front of my very eyes in the 80s when I came back to the festival. Because after the Bicentennial, I did not take over the Queen's program again until 80. But it took me Revolution was 76, so I worked on that for 4 years actually, because I worked on it the year after too, trying to get a revival, but which didn't happen. So I still work with the festival, with the Little Miss program and other things, but not with the Queen's pageant. Someone else ran it then. But it was fun. It was great and it was fun, and we loved every minute of it. If we didn't, I did. That's all I can say. All I can say.